Hey everyone, this is Derek here. Welcome to a very exciting video because today we are going to be talking about night mode, the new weather effect that was introduced in PUBG Mobile 0.9.5, the current Chinese version of the game, Lightspeed. And it's also called dynamic weather because you now have a day-night cycle when playing in this mode. So one of the first questions people have asked me is, how do you play night mode? Well, unfortunately, there's no way to manually select it. However, if you want a chance at getting it, just like fog or dusk, you need to be playing on Erangel in classic mode. So it doesn't matter first person or third person, but it needs to be on Erangel and it needs to be classic game. So it could be solo, duo, squads, that doesn't matter too. Basically, when you're in the lobby, you'll notice it looks like dusk, but the colors aren't as vibrant. Everything looks a little more cloudy, a little more foggy. It's definitely darker, and the shadows are longer than a normal game. So that is your tip-off. So basically, once you get into the plane, you'll notice much of the same. Dusk mode is also dark like this. However, the colors are a lot more vibrant. They're a lot more like reds and oranges, and it's very clear, and it looks very nice. This looks a lot more dull, and it just looks misty too. The island itself looks almost like it's covered in mist. So a huge thank you to Mr. Delightful for providing this footage for me. If you have night mode footage that you want to send in, this is not like top tier gameplay. It's not supposed to be. This is more an introduction to what night mode is all about, the day-night cycle, and we get to explore the night vision and more fun stuff like that, driving vehicles in the dark, trying to snipe in the dark. So if you have gameplay from night mode that you want to share, definitely send it to derekgreplays@gmail.com. I'll leave a link to that address in the video description, because I have a feeling that a ton of you are going to want to watch more of these games because they are pretty exciting, and it's something that, if implemented correctly, I think will bring just a fun new feel to the game, potentially in the next month and a half or so, because this will most likely, so no guarantees, but this will most likely come in the PUBG Mobile Global 0.9.0 update, which will come sometime in the middle to end of September, so just about a month and a half away or so. So we're doing some looting here. Unfortunately, everything is in Chinese because this is the Lightspeed Chinese version of the game. No option for English. Sounds like somebody's outside this military apartment building. You've got a pan, an Uzi, a shotgun, looks like the double barrel, some armor, some healing items, nothing too crazy yet. You can see as we get outside, take a look at that sky. Like I said, it looks cloudy and it looks darker than normal. That is how you know you are playing a night mode game. The actual night part doesn't start for, about like 10-15 minutes into the game or so. So I will definitely talk more about that when that starts to happen. And here is a new item. So we just picked it up automatically, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at it now. And this is your night vision goggle or night vision headset. So basically, this is how you need this to see in the dark. So you can see in the dark without it. However, I highly recommend that you pick up one of these guys if you are playing a night mode game. It only shows up, as far as I know, in a night mode game, and it is very, very, very useful, as you will see later. So you can see there he goes. He has equipped it. You can see it looks like it just sticks out right in front of the helmet there, and he has put that night vision equipment on. However, he has not turned it on, so we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes when we transition into the night phase of this match. So the way these matches work is they start out like this. They start out in a evening phase, and then they transition to a night phase for the middle part of the game, generally like 10 to 20 minutes in or so. And then after that, it transitions to a morning phase. So basically throughout the course of a game, because most games all take between 25 and 35 minutes or so, within those minutes, you have one complete cycle. So you start out like this, then you go to night, and then you go back. So I'm not sure if the game runs super long, if it goes into another night phase or not, but at least the footage I've seen so far, every game tends to have one night phase near the middle of it, and then we transition back to daylight for the ending circles of the game. So you can see here that it is still evening. He has done some looting. He now has a scar as well as some better armor, some level 2 armor, level 2 helmet, vest, and backpack. You can hear that the sounds, the buggy sounds different, sounds a little more realistic. That was also updated, I think, in 0.9.5 or maybe it was 0.8.6 on a Chinese version, I'm not sure. But either way, the buggy sounds good. And check out those very, very long shadows. And what I mean by that is because the sun is at a very low angle right now, the shadows that are cast are very large from the trees and stuff. So if you play a normal game, you'll notice that the shadows are a lot smaller if you even have them on. So there is another bot, I think. Let's see where he is. Oh, he's by the tree. So I'm going to go ahead and take him out there. You can tell it's a bot because he is not doing much damage. And here we go. Here is the transition. So check it out. Check out how it is quickly becoming darker. This is how fast it happens. So the first, like I said, like 10 minutes or so of the game, they kind of look the same. Looks like starting island, you know. And then we move very quickly into this transition time where it starts getting darker and darker and darker. So you can see the lights on the buggy are now active. They're active all the time, but you can see them better now. You can see that brake light. It's obscured by the minimap a little bit because of his placement of that minimap, but it looks pretty cool. So you can see here we are driving around now in dusk, and it is not dark yet. So this is not pitch black. Right now we're in, like I said, that transition, that dusk time. But check out the night sky. It has cleared up. There are now stars out there, and you can see it is quickly becoming darker and darker. So now we are almost to the night phase of the game. You can see, again, transition occurs very quickly, so be ready for it if you're playing one of these games. And that means during your initial looting, try to find night vision. So what we are doing now is we're actually going into the inventory and clicking on that night vision, those night vision goggles or night vision scope. I'm not really sure what it is. I think it's more like a monocle. So either way, you can see how everything looks green now, and we can actually see really well. So during the initial looting, I highly recommend that you search for a night vision scope because they are very, very helpful. And you can see it's a little weird. Shadows still render here. I guess it's like shadows from the moon. I do think there is a moon somewhere in the sky right now, so that explains why you can see a little bit even if you don't have night vision. But it makes it a lot easier. And you can see you do lose some of your side vision. You can see it almost looks like you're looking down a scope right now. You lose the corners a little bit in that blackness, but not a big deal, and a great trade-off for the increased visibility you get while using the night vision. So I'd imagine eventually they will implement some sort of a quick toggle on the main screen so you don't have to actually go into your inventory to access night vision. You can see here that we have deactivated it now. They might have like battery life or something in the future to worry about, but right now I think you can just keep it on the whole time if you want it. You can see that looting without it in this house is very difficult. You do get like yellow outlines around where items are, so it makes it a little bit easier to see them. But as far as telling what items are just from looking at them, very, very difficult. So you can see we are in a house, and it's not pitch black out there by any means, but it's definitely dark, definitely a lot darker, and the night vision helps a lot. So you can see here now that it's still difficult to tell what items are. However, you can see around the house a lot better. So the night vision showing that off, showing you how useful that is. I'm grabbing some more 9mm for that Uzi. And yeah, this is now the night cycle of the game. So like I said, it's typically the middle of the game, 40 people left right now, and that's pretty common. Generally, night is 10 to 20 minutes or so. That means it starts 10 minutes into the game and ends 20 minutes into the game, around there. So that's what I mean by that. The actual duration of night is, well, I guess we can measure it because I don't think there are going to be any cuts until night concludes. So I think the entire cycle is somewhere around 10 minutes or maybe 7 or 8 minutes. You guys can let me know in the comments down below. But check out this cluster of houses. Nobody in sight right now, so hopefully we can get a kill or two while we are in night vision, especially because we have that scope, but we will have to see. So it looks like a nice clear night. Like I said, those stars, the moon is somewhere, and if you do not have a scope, or a night vision monocle, whatever it is, it's easy enough to see people, but especially if someone's like prone or crouching, it's a lot more difficult than it has to be. So by no means are you out of the game if you get caught in a night mode without a monocle, but having one is a huge advantage. So you can see we're just going to go ahead and run towards the run towards the next zone, And you could also see that blue zone, how that renders at night. There's somebody who's coming up and able to get the kill. So not sure if that was a bot or not, but using that. Oh, look at that. A 3x scope, a level 3 helmet, and another scope, a longer one. It might have been a 6 or an 8 times. So what a great find from that person. So maybe it was a real person who was just coming over that hill. Not really sure. But either way, let's see what else he had. He had a P18C and a UMP9, so nothing too crazy. But going to continue exploring in the dark. So hopefully they bring this mode to Miramar and Sanhok eventually. However, right now, like I said, Erangel only. So it looks like we are to the, where is this? Like the south or west of the mines maybe. So this is a pretty common like arcade spot, this like swampy area here. So the one that includes the, not the mines, the quarry. So this is to the west, I think, of the quarry down the hill. So just taking a look around, seeing if we see anybody else. Getting through the night mode, you can see it's starting to get a little bit brighter on the horizon there, perhaps. Going to go ahead and turn that off. The night vision is now off, and it looks like the sky is getting brighter. So there is the radio station, that radio drop station that many of you have watched outside Gatka. So that is the one, the hidden one up there. And yeah, it does look like it's getting a little bit brighter. There's somebody running that way, so let's see if we can engage him. It's still useful to have night vision on, but the darkest part of the night seems to last for right around 5 minutes or so. That would be my guess, as we are now 11 minutes into the video, and I think it started about 7. The darkest part started, it's probably about 5 minutes. So, again, this is not, the best of the best gameplay. This is not the best of commentary, but we are hopefully enjoying what night mode is all about. So at first I thought that this was going to be like the jetpack and all the other crazy camouflage rocks and stuff coming to the TIMI version, but I think this is really cool actually. I really like it. I mean, I think it's a pretty neat weather effect. I hope that we get more of this because I think there's definitely a different dynamic. And for those of you worried about how it's going to be impacting like tournaments and stuff, well, I'd imagine that tournaments are either going to just re-roll, restart the game if something like this happens, or they're going to have a large enough, pool of basically like best of 5, best of 7 that having 1 or 2 of these games thrown in the mix doesn't matter, and it shows a different skill set too. So you can see there is somebody who is running that way and is getting owned at night. So you can see how the zone is now closing in. There are only 14 people left, and it is still dark, although it is starting to get a little bit brighter. So like I said, you can see in the horizon how it's getting brighter now. So this game looks like it's a little bit quicker of a game because, well, the whole game is only taking, gosh, about, maybe we're 20 minutes in right now with the cuts. So that's not too long, and that's why we are transitioning back to light with so few people left. I've seen other games where the night cycle ends. Actually, look at that. It really stands out when you kill somebody. Their crate, that green glow there, that is a lot easier to see at night, although other people can see it too. So remember that you are going to be visible to those other people who might also be watching for green flashing lights in the middle of the darkness. So there is the blue zone behind us, starting to close in. Going to go ahead and activate night vision again and take a look around. Looks like we are still near Gatka, right? So there is that somebody else? Yes, it is. Coming through the swamp right now. So going to go ahead and take a couple shots, see if we can get a headshot. Yes, there you go. I think that was a headshot. So no hit markers in the Chinese version, so can't be sure, but it looked like he was aiming for the head, which is always a good idea if you have somebody who is running. Oh, that is a rooster. That is a rooster. That's crazy. So that means, I guess the rooster is the signal that like starts the day. So just like how roosters wake us up in real life, those of us living in rural areas, then in the game, the rooster lets you know that the darkness is going away, that you can turn your night vision off, and that you can start enjoying a morning of PUBG Mobile. So like I said, the entire cycle is basically dusk to night to dawn, and we are now in the dawn part of the match. So you can see that night vision is no longer required. If you have it on, everything's going to start to look like very washed out. So everything's going to look very like bright and very it's still going to be green and white. So that's not very useful compared to the colors that you get in morning. So once you hear the rooster, that is your signal to turn off night vision if you still have it on. So check it out. We are now running towards this compound, just running to get into the zone, trying to outrun it right now. It's closing in behind us. And yeah, pretty neat. So definitely let me know what your thoughts are on night mode. Do you think it's gimmicky? Do you want to see it in the global version? Some features in the Chinese version, like windows, have still not made it, or window glass rather, have still not made it into the Chinese or global version. So hopefully I said that right. But basically, there are no windows in the global version, and there should be, at least according to many people. So there's somebody who's going ahead to loot that crate. Gonna go and take him out there. But this very well could be a feature that we see very soon on the Chinese or on the global version. And check that out. There is a night vision scope in the crate. There's also a ton of stuff that person dropped. Way too much. M249, a ton of 5.56. So there you have it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this overview of night mode on PUBG Mobile 0.9.5, the current Chinese version. Again, there's no way to like queue specifically for it. However, if you want to play this game, basically all you need to do is keep queuing. Remember, it has to be classic and it has to be on Erangel. And once you get that dusk mode, darker lobby that doesn't have the bright colors of dusk mode, you know that you've stumbled upon a dynamic weather game, a game where there is night mode. So if you enjoyed the video, definitely give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends to help grow the channel. And consider subscribing if you haven't already for tons more PUBG Mobile content. My name's Derek G, and I hope to see you on the battlefield soon or in my Discord, which I'll also leave a link to down below.